with a 88% block and about 400 life region. We feel very tanky in this tier 15 map. I believe that was a rogue Exile, but it was deleted very fast. Our damage is pretty okay. This is not a fast build. However, the good thing for the Totem is that you just drop it on the ground. It will attack for us. With this Turtle Charm Ascendancy node, we can block all hits. So that includes all the melee hit, spell hit, except DOT, it can block everything. And we have 88% block rate. That is just insane. We can just drop our totem and move on. Everything just die behind us. For the gear, I will have everything shared in the planner link and also the passive building code. Because we have giant blood notable, we can use a two-hander in one hand. It will triple our requirement for strength. We have close to 350 strength requirement. All this makes sense is the plus level of all melee skills. The maximums here should be +7. I have 6. I'm still working on it. On a lot of the other pieces, like a helmet, glove, boots, we're basically looking for a lot of life, resistances, and the strength if we can have it. And if we can have life region, for example here on it, we should get it as optional. On the chest, it says the life resistances and strength if we can get. We should look for the implicit mode, which gives us a lot of life region based on our maximum life. The spirit here is really optional. On the runes as well, we look for high maximum life, high resistances, and strength. Also, you can look for either dexterity or intelligence if you need them. And on the amulet, two things really stands out. One is the +3 level of all melee skills. If you have only +2 or +1, that should be okay to get started with. And then we can gradually work on it. And for the instill, right, or enchant, we go for very cheap version. This is called flash deflection. This will give us 12% block rate. That can help us capped our block rate very easily. And you can see we have 88% estimated chance to block, but our block chance is actually 65. That because of we have this unique shield, which will give us minus maximum block chance. So we have 75 capped block chance, minus 10, that will be 65. However, on this shield, it has block chance is lucky. This will give us additional block chance. That increase our block chance all the way to 88%. We can also crop this shield to get even -8, -9 maximum block. That will further push our block chance, probably to 90%. On the belt, the same. High life, high resistance. If we can get a life region or armor, that's okay. For the life flask, increase recovery rate and increase the maximum charges. We barely use any life flask anyway in the map. Maybe we have to use this one when we fight pinnacle bosses, but I'll have to see. For the charm, we're using the soaring charm. We don't want to be frozen. But again, everything is linked in the planner link, and I'll share the passive building code as well. By the way, another thing to call out is the jewel wall. The only two priorities we should be looking for is really the increased block chance and also the increased life regeneration rate. If you can find, for example, global physical damage, melee damage, etc. on this jewel wall, that will be really awesome. But if you don't have it, that should be totally fine. For the Ascendancy, we should go for answer the call here as the first one and then go for wooden wall. This will give us damage reduction. This gives us Ancestral Spirit, which is nice to have. After that, we should go for Renly's Training. This will give us a lot of chance to block. With this one, we can easily get our block chance maximized to 75%. After that, we go for the last one, which is the Turtle Charm. This one is really strong. It can block damage from all hits. This includes all of the attacks and also all of the spells as well. The only thing this one cannot block, I believe, is the DOT damage. It has 25 less block chance. That's not a problem at all because we have a lot of the node on the tree to increase our block chance. And the first thing we need to notice is that we have a lot of strengths in our passive tree because we need a lot of strength to be able to wield the two-hander in our one hand. Because of this giant blood notable, it will triple our attribute requirement for the weapon. I also went down here to get more to all attribute, increase attribute by 1%, and also reduce the requirement on both our skills and also on the gear. Later on, if we are able to get more attribute in our gear, I think I should drop all this cluster. I believe there are still more region on the tree. For example, here, this is really great. When we get stunned, we get a lot of more region. There are also like a region when we are stationary. We can also get this cluster for more physical damage and also attack speed. There are some region here as well. Region 0.75 maximum life per second. But this is really great. If we want to get more strength, we can actually go. You can see one node gives us 12 strength, and this one will further increase our damage per 15 strength. We can also go to this cluster for this one. One increase the damage per 1% chance to block. So that 88% increased damage. However, I may not go here because these block loads are really not necessary. Maybe you can choose this and refund some of the block node on the way that we're using to be able to go here to further increase our damage. But be careful, this will give us reduced global defense, meaning we will have less armor. But I'll see how that plays out. There's another region node when stationary. We still have a lot of room to improve our gear and also our passive node. And the second big cluster on the passive is the block chance. So we can get block chance here with a lot of the block chance smaller loads here as well. We also get block chance, some block chance here. And this one is really great to increase our damage per 1% chance of block. This will give us 88% increased damage. We also have a block here to give us life region when we block as well. And then I believe we also have enchantment or instillment on our amulet to give us additional 12% increased block chance. The third one on the passive tree is actually the region. So we have a lot of smaller region node and then bigger region node, right? And increased life region regeneration. And here as well, life region based on maximum life and also life regeneration rate. We will get a lot of regeneration rate. Beyond that, this is notable we're taking. This will make our hits always hits and we don't deal critical hits. That's fine. By giving this, it will give us a lot of damage. For blood magic, take this. When we had good region, if we don't have good region, we can use the Rise of the Phoenix shield, which gives us 3% life region. That can help us in the early stage to be able to use blood magic. By using blood magic, we cast our skill using life instead of mana, which means we don't have to manage our mana at all. Other than that, we should just look for a lot of totem placement speed because they're on the way for us to get a lot of totem damage and also totem attack speed. Right, so these are all totem damage node and these are totem damage load. We should be rushed to Ancestral Artifice, give us one more summon a totem and also another one here to give us one more. Before we transition to totem, we should pick up at least 2 nodes before we do that. Other than that, the jewel, we're looking for life region and also chance to block. You can look for damage node on that as well and maybe also resistances, right? Especially one node here is really cool. This will help us defend critical hits using 2% of our armor and it will give us 15 strength. That is really great. We can take this iron reflexes to convert all the evasion to armor, which means we can look for both armor and evasion, the hybrid on our gear, and pay attention to the requirement on the dexterity. All of the passives are linked in the planner link, and I shared the passive building codes. You can feel free to download them and take a closer look at. Now we're at the level 88. We are able to kill T15 plus map. We have 2,600 life, 150 spirit. I think 100 should be good enough. We have 40% armor, and then we have 88% block. This is really great. We capped every elemental resistances and I need to work on my chaos resistance in the next step. We need a lot of strength to use the two-handed mace in one hand because of the giant blood notable. And then once we drop the totem on the ground, we have 382 life regeneration per second. The primary skill we are using is Ancestral Warrior Totem with Thunder. So the totem can cast the Thunder to attack. We just drop totem on the ground and the totem will do the work for us. It is supported by Brutality, Heavy Swing, and Heft. If we have another socket here, we can use Martial Tempo, increase the attacking speed, or Upheaval to do more AoE damage. Ancestral Spirit, supported by Mid Shield, Prevented Dying, supported by Blind, Calling Strike, and mini mastery. The one thing I really like is that cast on block supported by Orb of Storm. That will give us Fount of Blood. This is more regen, and also Fount of Reach. This is more attack, and magnified effect increase the area of Orb of Storm. We have 88% chance to block. So whenever we get attacked, we will probably just cast Orb of Storm automatically, leaving it on the ground without pressing any button. One thing to note is that cast on block needs 97 intelligence to be working. I have a bunch of intelligence on my gear. They're not high enough, and also a bunch of nodes that are intelligence. If we get more intelligence on my gear, or I get more strength on the gear, I think that's all fine. I probably will change this to strength. We don't manually cast our Orb of Storms at all, because it's automated on cast on block. We don't need the Maze Strike, and we're using Scavenged Plating, supported by Persistence to give us more armor. Shield Charge very obviously, use this one to navigate in the map much faster, supported by Ingenuity to reduce its cooldown, and Second Wind to be able to use this one twice without waiting for the cooldown. Leaf Stem is really optional here if you want to press one additional button. This is supported by Holy Descent, which will generate consecrated ground that will give us more regen. And for our reservations, the first one is Tomb of Need, supported by Faster Forward, Vitality, and Herbalism. If we don't have actual spirit to reserve Vitality and Herbalism, that's fine. Go for Vitality first. Herbalism increase recovery from Life Flux. Because we don't really use Life Flask a lot, this is really optional. And the Tomb of Need will refill our life once in a while. This is really great. I'm running Blasphemy, supported by Enfeeble and the Ritualistic Curse. This will reduce the damage the mob and the boss does to us. Remember to quality this up. This will reduce our reservation by 10%. People will also argue probably we should use a companion for our build. I think for me, I tried a bunch of things. Some companions are really great. They can give us Haste Aura to increase our attack speed and also Totem attack speed, and also take 10% damage before the damage hit us. These are really great. However, I found them a little bit hard to maintain them alive, and also a little bit hard to farm them. Also, if we want to use companion, that's gonna need probably around 80 dexterity, which is something I don't have. Because we need cast on block to automate our Orb of Storm, we need 97 intelligence. I think we can run higher level of this beyond level 9, depending on how much intelligence we have. And we can also run higher level Enfeeble here. But if you really want to try Companion, maybe drop some intelligence and go for dexterity. If you cannot use cast on block, I think that's fine. Just manually cast Orb of Storms if you don't mind one additional button clicking. All of the skills are linked in the planner link in the description. Now I want to talk about the leveling for this build. Because the gem we're using Ancestral Warrior Totem will not be available until we reach level 52 and before we reach the beginning of Act 2 in Kuru difficulty. Before that, we cannot use the Ancestral Warrior Totem, which is the main skill for this build. However, we have to level using other type of skills. In order to do that, there are multiple options. We start as a warrior. We can just level in using warrior. And people say if we're using totem, we can use another totem. For example, the shockwave totem can be available from very beginning. However, to my experience, I think shockwave totem is way slow at the beginning. So instead, I recommend to level this build up using just the warrior before we reach level 52. Once we reach Act 2 and we have the 52 level, get the level 13 uncut gem, convert that into Ancestral Warrior Totem. After that, I think everything should be a breeze. If we take a look at our passive building, if you click on this button here, I have all of the leveling process recorded in different what they call trees here. This is Act 1, this is Act 2, and Act 3. So all the way to early mapping and to level 87 in the video, I'll explain how to use this. If we go to Act 1, we start from here getting some melee damage, and then grab those region nodes. On the way we grab some armor nodes, which is really great. We grab more melee loads all the way down, right? Up to some point we have to decide either use one-hander or two-hander. One-hander with a shield is definitely having less damage than two-hander. I really recommend to go with two-hander, especially in the leveling, I'm playing in the soft core, but if you're doing this in hardcore, you can try to use 100. Instead of picking these loads, you will be focusing picking the 100 damage node. In this part of building code, I also have all of the skills. For example, from the normal Act 1, this is where we start the game. We start using Mace Strike to gain some rages to increase our damage. Then we can use Bone Shelter either to do a lot of AoE damage to burn all of the enemies around us. And we can use Rolling Slam on single target together with Herald of Ash. Act 2, we can add Leap Slam. For the clearing, we can Leap Slam into a group of monsters and then do Bone Shattering to clear all them out. And for single target, we still continue using Rolling Slam. In Act 3, we can add Perfect Strike. We can also add Infernal Cry. Other than that, I'm still using Bone Shattering for clearing and the majority using Rolling Slam for single target. We go back to our tree. Remember to click this button here to select where we are. Act 2, we select more armor, more 200 damage, and go down here to get more damage nodes for the mace. For Act 3, get more nodes about stun buildup. You will find this is really amazing, right? There are a lot of stun buildup nodes we're taking. And definitely take this node, Giant Blood, to be able to use 200 in one hand. That will allow us to use a 200 at the same time we can use a shield. This will greatly increase our defense. Then Karoo will go for more brick armor and also some damage node here. And then that is before we transition to Ancestral Warrior Totem. For the transition, which happens at the beginning of Act 2 in Karoo difficulty, once we get the first task, we will be awarded with a uncut gem level 13, and then we can change that to Ancestral Warrior Totem. We have to reach level 52 to be able to use that. And then we change our passive tree. We should go start from here. We still keep a lot of our damage nodes. That also works on the totem. But because we're using totem, we should look for a lot of smaller node and a big node for totem damage, right? Before we switch to totem, make sure we have this node, which will give us +1 to maximum number of totems. And also this node will give us another +1 of maximum number of totems. Together with the totem that we have, with these two nodes, we can summon 3 totems together. That will greatly boost our damage. After that, we should go for more placement speed and also totem damage. After we collect a lot of the totem damage nodes, we should go for the block chance here. Because block chance, 1% chance to block will give us 1% increased damage. In the Karoo, if we are able to pick up the Ascendancy node, for example the third one, this will easily cap our block chance at 75, which is the maximum, very easily. And that 75% block chance will give us 75% increased damage. This is insane. And that's it for definitely pick up Resolute technique. This is a very good damage booster for us. After that, we should look for more block chance here, block chance here. This one will give us life gain on block. Act 3 in the early mapping, we go for here. For blood magic, we can use the Rise of the Phoenix shield, which can give us 3% regen based on our maximum life, which should be sufficient enough for us to use blood magic. Again, if you cannot comfortably use blood magic, that's fine. Just manage our mana consumption, use mana flasks. That should be totally fine. Up until here, I think we should be able to do early mapping. And then when we level in the mapping, we just pick up a more regen node right here. Life regeneration rate, more regen based on maximum life. And also the cluster here is really good. There are 40 life regeneration rate and also a big node here to give us more regen based on our maximum life. Definitely pick up this node. This will give us 15 strength and together with the other node, more armor. And what is important for this one is to defend critical hits with 200% of our armor. I believe until we reach level 78, we can switch to the unique lean power shield that we talked about before to give us 88, right, up to maybe 19% block chance, which is really strong. That will carry us all the way to T15, T16. I haven't tried on T17 maps, but I think it should be fine. Going forward from here to fight more difficulty content in the game, for example, pinnacle bosses. One thing that I need to cap my chaos resistance, that need a lot of gear change. And also, if I get enough attributes attribute on my gear, I should drop off this cluster all the way and put this either to life region while moving, and there are some region not even here. Life region when we're stationary. If we really want, we can also go here to pick up this node, which gives us 1% of damage per 1% chance to block. And there are a lot of block loads on here as well, so we can drop maybe some of the node here on the way to be able to pick up this damage node, which is really great. Just be aware of that. There's a 20% less armor. We have a lot of room to improve on the armor on our gears. I feel pretty excited about playing this build. It is very safe and very easy to do. If you are a casual gamer like me, you probably will like this build. Definitely this build is not a fast build in any way, because we just drop the totem on the ground and let the totem do the work for us. The cast not as fast as some of the build that we played before, such as Deadeye, or some of the one-shot build that we played in the last league. But this is a different playstyle. I feel pretty good playing this in a very casual way. I hope you found this video interesting and useful for you if you want to play the same build. Again, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to support our channel. Thank you. See you in the next one.